All right, let's dive into a management technique that honestly sounds completely backwards, but it might just be the key to building a truly incredible team. It comes from the classic book, The 1 Minute Manager, and it's all about the surprising power of the reprimand. So let's just start with a question that seems to break every rule in the book. What if the best manager in a company, the absolute top performer, was someone who pretty much only showed up to talk to his experienced staff when they messed up? I mean, it sounds like a recipe for a total disaster, right? Well, as we're about to find out, it's anything but. So our story kicks off with this young man who's on a quest. He's heard whispers and legends about this incredible 1 minute manager, and he's dead set on figuring out his secrets. But the more he digs, the more confused he gets. And here's the thing that's really messing with his head. This manager's plant is the most productive one in the whole company. And get this, it's using some of the oldest equipment. His style is just weird, but everyone, and I mean everyone, says he's the best. It just doesn't make any sense. So the young man is convinced there's got to be a catch. He starts digging deeper, talks to an executive at the head office, a Ms. Gomez, and he thinks he's finally found the manager's fatal flaw. And there it is, the aha moment. High turnover, that's almost always a huge red flag for bad management. The young man thinks, bingo, I've cracked it. This guy is just burning people out. But what he's about to discover is that the truth is the complete opposite. And this is where the entire picture just flips on its head. Look, on the left, you've got your standard turnover. People are unhappy, they're not growing, so they quit. It's a net loss. But on the right, that's the manager's turnover. His people aren't quitting, they're getting promoted out of his department. So let that sink in. This isn't a weakness, it's his superpower. He's not losing people, he's developing them so well that the rest of the company poaches them to become leaders themselves. His high turnover is actually his greatest strength. He's creating a constant pipeline of new managers. You can imagine the young man's mind is totally blown. He continues his search and gets a meeting with Miss Brown, a super experienced employee who's worked with the manager for years. He's hoping she can finally explain what's really going on. And, well, she does not disappoint. Miss Brown tells him, yeah, I hardly ever see him. She's a pro. She knows her job inside and out. So she sets her own goals. She even does her own 1-minute praisings. For the veterans on his team, the manager is almost completely hands-off. And boom, there it is, the bombshell. The main reason the manager actually initiates a conversation with his best, most experienced people is when they make a big mistake. Not to check in, not for a pep talk, but because of an error. I mean, that sounds absolutely terrifying, but this is the key to the entire system. And Mrs. Brown gives it a name, the 1-minute reprimand. This is the third and final secret. It's not just yelling at someone. It's a structured, powerful tool for getting things back on track that when you do it right, actually makes the employee stronger. So how on earth does this work without completely destroying morale and creating a culture of fear? Let's break down the exact anatomy of the 1-minute reprimand, because this thing is a carefully choreographed process. Okay, first, and this is absolutely critical, this is not for new hires or trainees who are still learning. This is specifically for your experienced people, the ones who know better, but for whatever reason they dropped the ball. And the process has two very, very distinct parts. The first half, yeah, this is a tough part. The second the mistake is confirmed, the manager addresses it right away. He looks the person square in the eye and tells them exactly what they did wrong. No vague language. Then he tells them honestly how he feels about it. I'm frustrated or I'm disappointed. And then he just pauses. He lets an uncomfortable silence hang in the air for a few seconds, just to let it all sink in. But then, just as quickly as it started, the entire energy shifts. And this is the most important part. This is what makes the whole thing work. It's the reaffirmation. So he'll do something to reconnect, like a handshake or a hand on the shoulder. He reminds them how valuable they are to the team and how much he respects them as a person. He makes it crystal clear. You are one of my best people. That's why I'm so disappointed in this one specific behavior. He separates the person from the mistake. And then, it's over. He moves on. He never brings it up again. Okay, so that's the how, but we really need to dig into the why. Why doesn't this just make everyone hate their job? Why do experienced people like Miss Brown actually respect it so much? Well, it works for a few really powerful reasons. One, it's fast and it's specific, so there's zero confusion.
Two, and this is the absolute key, it attacks the behavior, not the person. The message isn't "you're bad," it's "that thing you did was not okay." Because it's so fair and consistent, it stops people from getting defensive or trying to shift blame. They can just own it.
And I love how Miss Brown puts it. She says, the best part is that when it's over, it's over. That minute might be tough, but once it's done, the slate is wiped clean. There's no grudge, no resentment. The employee can learn from the mistake and get right back to being a high performer, feeling totally respected.
Now, here's something you absolutely have to understand. The reprimand doesn't work in a vacuum. You can't just go around doing this. It's only one piece of a much larger and very, very balanced management system.
So here's how all three secrets lock together. The reprimand is the third secret. It only works because it's built on a foundation of secret one, 1-minute goals. Everybody knows exactly what good looks like. And secret two, 1-minute praisings. This manager is constantly on the lookout, trying to catch people doing something right. So you see, it's a complete loop. The goals give clear direction. The praisings reinforce all the good work, which, let's be honest, should be happening 99% of the time. And the reprimand, that's just a rare tool you use to quickly course-correct a great employee who's had a momentary slip. It's tough love, but it's still fundamentally supportive.
And that leaves us with this one final thought. The three secrets, clear goals, quick praisings, and fair reprimands, they all sound incredibly simple on paper, don't they? But their power comes from their consistency, their clarity, and the deep, profound respect they show for the person. So the real question is, if they're so simple, why are they often the hardest things for us to actually do?